Regret for what you never tried weighs heaviest of all. Never give up on yourself. You will fail. You will fall. Get back up. Do it differently. Do it better. Never stop striving. Never stop. Never give in. Never give in.
Never, never, never. In nothing, great or small, large or petty, never give in except to convictions of honor and good sense.
Boy, I was feeling low. Nothing I was writing or doing seemed to be connecting with anyone. I was singing, I was shouting, I was talking, and all into the void. My words were grains of salt dissolved by the ocean, and nothing I was doing was making a bit of difference. I was feeling pretty darn down on myself, and I could sense that I could start a downward spiral. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I cannot cut out for it. No matter how hard I try, I never improve. And on down the hellhole I go. So, I had this bright idea that I would simultaneously pull myself up out of my slumps and hopefully maybe also give someone else, maybe also experiencing the same down on himself kind of feelings, some pick-me-up of his own. There is no exercise better for the heart than reaching down and lifting people up. I've been on Twitter, X, Twitter, whatever. I've been on there a very long time, and though I haven't amassed a very large following, it is a fine public forum to share thoughts and insights and memes. So I shot off a tweet, whatever. I wrote about my feelings on Twitter. I said, it can be excruciating to keep at it with results at a flat line. Number 1, have you given enough time? Number 2, is it time to tweak or get insight? Just don't give in. It's never time for that. Naively, I thought that was pretty innocuous. Perhaps even, dare I say, uplifting. This, I thought, is something that applies pretty much universally. I even put some qualifiers in there so that there'd be some built-in checkpoints. The late great Winston Churchill left room for honor and good sense. I included time and insight. All good. Oh, look! Someone I respect and admire quote-tweeted me. How exciting and uplifting. I can't wait to see what he wrote. Oh, let's check in, shall we?
This is the worst advice I have read in my entire life. Literally. Some activities, or business models, or writing projects, or whatever are bad and will never pay dividends. You need to identify those and cut your losses. Seriously, this is terrible advice, and you should repent.
Well, heck. As you might imagine, this did not immediately eliminate my downward spiral. Well, it took out the spiral part. So, with an ungodly amount of poise and a conscious, nerve-rasping will to not give myself over to a week-long pity party, I decided to double down. The first thing I wrote was reactionary. Well, the first thing I published. By the time I made it to Twitter, it was well toned down from the very first thing that I wrote. It went something like this. To clarify, this was intended to be bigger picture, not keep jumping off of roofs until you fly, but rather never stop trying to fly. If your only success in your attempts is avoiding alcoholic escapism and an early grave, then that's still success. Even that was a bit too cringy in my estimation, so I deleted it shortly after I published it. Instead, I posted this, but not as a direct response. Never give up on yourself. There are lost causes, and there are causes that must never be lost. You will fail. Get back up. Learn from your mistakes. Do it differently. Do it better. Regret for what you never tried weighs heaviest of all. Never stop striving. You are a cause that must never be lost. I also took a couple of other lessons from this. The first is that you alone are responsible for the message you send out. If your writing fails to deliver your message, don't blame the reader or viewer. Improve your delivery. You cannot get better except by doing, and in doing, you will at times fail. Failures, then, are milestones toward success. Winston Churchill, the unofficial mascot of this video, said, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." Or maybe that was an old Budweiser ad the internet does love to misattribute. Well, in the same vein, Nelson Mandela definitely did say, "The greatest glory in living lies not in never failing, but in rising every time we fall." Mwah. Wonderful. Second lesson was, once I picked my heart up off the floor, dusted off the dirt and most of the boot prints, and shoved it back into my chest, I looked at the rest of the thread. Yup, he made a whole thread about my little pick-me-up tweet. I'm okay. Really? I'm okay. Mickey was not okay. Shut up! I was! Eventually. So, on down that thread was this.
One of the top 3 worst decisions of my life, probably top 2 actually, was trying to keep my startup small business alive for 6 more years after the crash of '08. Sort of just shut it down and walked away.
No matter how well you write, how carefully you speak, the person who receives what you've said will do so in the context of his or her own experiences, her own perspective. A love song when you're lonely is an ode to sadness. There's an important moral in there. People are not against you. They are for themselves. Coincidentally, or maybe not so coincidentally, the rest of that Lao Tzu quote is wholly relevant to what we're talking about here. People aren't against you, they are for themselves. The most dangerous risk of all, the risk of spending your life not doing what you want on the bet that you can buy yourself the freedom to do it later. He who conquers others is strong. He who conquers himself is mighty. What do you want to accomplish? Why do you want to accomplish it? The answer to that second question, the why, kicks the ass of what every day and twice on Sunday. I've said it before. You, in a very real sense, are your aspirations. What do you aspire to do, to build? Who do you aspire to be? Never give in on that. Never give up on your why. It's the star that steers you, that guides you. It's there even when the storm clouds drape the sky in rain and wind and gray. The clouds will clear and you will see your star again. Never, never, never give in, no matter what anyone tells you. I'm going to paraphrase some of the rest of Sir Winston Churchill's speech, because though we are not battling in a worldwide war against the quintessence of evil, we are in an often lonely battle against forces that seem beyond our strength. Never yield to adversity. Never yield to the apparently overwhelming force of those who advise you to stop, to save yourself. Save yourself the trouble, the hardship, the heartbreak. At times, you will stand alone. And to many, it will seem that your account is closed, that you are finished. But very different is the mood when appraising the successful. Those who stood in the gap, those who did not flinch, the sort who do not give in, and by what seems almost a miracle to those outside our doors, though we ourselves never doubt it, we eventually find ourselves in a position where I can say we can be sure that we have only to persevere, to conquer. We must learn to be equally good at what is short and sharp and what is long and tough. When you make up your mind that a thing has to be done and the job put through and finished, then even if it takes months, if it takes years, you do it. Another lesson I think we might take is that appearances are often very deceptive, and we must meet triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. Fix in your eye, in your mind, in your heart, and in your very soul why you strive. And let nothing stand in your way, least of all your own self-doubts. In the clarion voice of another great one,
Excelsior!
Excelsior! Ever onward, ever upward, ever eyes upon the prize. The time is yours. Take it all the way home and never give